Top agent Michael Jarman is with us this lunchtime. You might not be laughing in a moment, Michael, because we're talking about a January window. We're talking about movement or otherwise in this window. I know one of your clients is Ano Danjuma. I know he's a forward who's on loan at Everton at this stage. And something tells me he might be on the move. Would I be right? Go on.
There are conversations afloat. We have had interest from. Look, he's happy. He's settled at Everton. We've got a contract with Everton, so it's only respectful that that's the way the conversation stands.
Yeah.
He's not getting his minutes at the moment under Mr. Daesh, and what's best for his career is to play football. So there's been interest and conversations ongoing with Olympique Lyonnais. It's been reported in the media. That's why I'll confirm it. But it's an interesting 3 weeks, close to the 3 weeks. And
I know you've got a decent stable of players, and as an agent you have to. How does the January window differ to the summer one?
Horrible, nasty, because at least with the summer you've got the time, you can kind of get an idea of how positioning. What happens is like you go into the first week, 2 weeks, and everyone's got their priority targets, and then they don't materialise or manifest, and then bang, it's just chaos for the next 2 weeks. So that's why I've kind of got my phone out now. You're consistently checking if messages are coming in or you're needed at any given point. So you just have to be on the ball, ready to go, ready to react to any situations, especially as the multiplier effect takes shape. So one domino falls and then the rest start to fall into line. And it's interesting because if you look at the domestic pyramid, locally, there's some really fantastic battles taking place in the Championship, in the lower part of the Prem, the race for the Champions League, even promotion in League One's like fascinating right now. So, and everyone is trying to have theirs so that they can finish as strong as possible. So it's tiring. It is tiring, but this is what we signed up for. Enjoy it.
I mean, for a variety of reasons, clubs want to do business. They might want to add to what they've already got. Others are worried that they're in a bit of a pickle and we need to reinforce. For you guys, it's win-win, is it not? If you can get one, if not two, if not more decent deals done, you've had a good month.
Why is it win-win? Why?
Because the business is there to be done.
Yeah,
clubs want to do business for various reasons.
Yeah, but this is the whole the smoke screen that happens around agents. Once a deal takes place and the client moves for 4 years, let's say, for example, you get one opportunity to do that deal and you have to do it correct and you have to do it right. So whether it happens today or whether it happens in 3 months down the line, 4 months down the line, it's the same thing to me. It's all about, for me, in my humble opinion, it's about doing the right job correctly at the right time for the right environment for the right player. That's it.
Yeah. You really shouldn't like Michael. Because he's an agent and he's a good agent.
He would love me.
No, you listen to what I say about agents. I think there's a lot of agents that aren't very good and there's some that are. And the ones that are find a solution to problems and the ones that are do a deal. My experiences of agents were based upon people that didn't do deals. That took when you try and find a solution to a deal, Jim, it becomes a trade-off between what the agent wants to get for his player and what the club's prepared to give. If you find yourself giving something and get nothing in return, it's not a particularly good relationship. And also, my other complaint was always about division. It's once you've signed a player, you would like to think that the agent's role in that is very limited because you don't need to have an agent creating problems for you by seeing opportunities.
Whoa, slow down. Sorry, why would you want their role limited once you've done let's say you've signed one of my
because
players.
He's now my employee. I don't need you.
Why?
Because he's my employee.
Massively disagree with that.
Okay. One day when you're an employee of footballers rather than an agent, you might have a different view.
No, not at all. Because it's ultimately we are arguably amongst the most trusted.
Your relationship with the player.
Right. So if something is going wrong, I think there's this Machiavellian approach with agents where we want to disrupt the market. I think
a lot of agents too.
I want the best for my clients. So at the end of the day, that means the best version of themselves at all given times. They are professional football players. Emphasis on the word professional.
But there's often a disconnect between what you think might be the best for the player and what the club, who is employer, who pays his wages, paid the transfer fee, and has a responsibility for him on a day-to-day basis. There might be a difference between that, and often there is. And that's a difference that you have difficulty managing. If you've got a sensible agent, you might be able to have reasonable conversations, but a lot of the time, you might be the exception. You might be one of the exceptions. But the majority of the time, and lots of my experiences and football club owners today, not just my experiences from 10 years ago, have the same conundrums, which is the division that is created by the opportunity that comes when it comes to a transfer situation, because often players want what they want when they want it.
The thing is, Michael, you went with the new rules that FIFA were trying to implement, didn't you? FIFA, at the end of the day, said, look, new rules, regulations, you've got to abide by them. Agent commission, 3% of transfer fees. All agents would have to make their fees public. You had to pass an exam. You did. But now they've rolled back in it, and FIFA has now opted to suspend the rules following a legal win from UK-based agents.
What about me? I wasn't
in
involved.
November. But at the end of the day, you were prepared to go through with the regulations.
Yeah, I supported it. I think the only reason for it is the caps. The regulations are fine. I think the industry needed re-regulating. There were too many pretend to be agents, paying a fee and then all of a sudden starting to jump into the industry and go, I know what I'm... It's hard. Doing our job is hard. I think the caps set a really dangerous precedent because Simon has a view where he goes, agents take money out of the game and don't put it back in, and so that's why, and he's thinking as a club owner, and arguably rightfully so, he makes some valid points. The other side of it is football players take money out of the game and don't. And my worry was always, once that cap's implemented, where does it end in 3 years' time if FIFA decide that too much money is going out the game? Do we now cap football players? The ultimate solution for me, no. The ultimate solution, and it's working, is FFP. Tighten it up, because I'm genuine, and we're not talking about the elephant in the room, right? Hear this out. There is a recession at the moment happening in football, especially in Europe. You've got clubs in the Premier League that are able to outmuscle and outmaneuver European giants, which never happened when I was growing up. The Juventuses of the world, the Inter Milans, the AC Milans, it never happened. They are struggling to compete with. But
that's
might.
Primarily to do with the Premier League, and that has been for some time.
So
now.
what?
So in the 90s we're talking about, but not now. It's not been that way for 20 years. And FFP and salary caps are two different things. Salary caps will still come in because FFP needs to be adhered to.
Why would salary caps come
because the driver to the reasons why FFP is going to be complied with is ultimately some degree of control over salaries, because it's not to do with infrastructure, it's not to do with investment in academies.
So it's a soft cap, basically. You're saying you're agreeing with me that FFP is working almost as a soft cap because it limits the amount you can spend on wages.
But I think underneath it they will put some more guidelines in place, something similar to what the Americans have done with their models, which is basically you're only allowed to spend 70% of your turnover on wages.
It's a different market. Football's so global, it touches the four corners. It's
irrelevant.
Impossible to do.
It's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant.
I mean, that argument about the NFL and the reality of what that does and what it doesn't do because it's not a global audience is irrelevant. You're controlling your business, and your business is based on, as long as there's coherence between all the leagues, as long as the Saudis can't be an outlier, as long as other leagues can't be an outlier, there is no issue with financial fair play, and there is no issue. And the one thing that agents should have to do is they should have to pay to be involved in football. If I have to pay a league levy on my season tickets and on my gate receipts and everything I get, if the players laughably have to pay taxes to be involved with the PFA, then the agents should have to pay a proportion of their revenue for being involved in the opportunity that football presents to them.
So taxation, yeah? Okay, and what would we get in return for that?
The opportunity to be involved in the industry.
Is that it? So it's basically a taxation just to say if you want to be an agent, pay us.
So I, as a football club owner, pay 3% of my season tickets. Why should I pay 3% of my season tickets to the FA and to the Football League, and you guys don't?
Because you get something on the back end of it.
And so do you. You get players and the ability to operate in this industry.
Yeah, but we do that by way of taking the exam. And then, and
now they're
trying to cap us.
I'll take an exam as an owner, as long as I haven't got to pay 3% of my season tickets and gate
First
receipts.
of all, our roles and responsibilities to the industry are completely different. Completely different.
I have a responsibility.
So just because you get taxed, it doesn't mean.
Listen,
really?
Michael,
Okay,
you took an exam as an agent.
Bring me back on, please, because I know we're running out of time.
He could take an exam on as an owner today and fail it. It's good to see this lunchtime. The agents and owners are very much on the same page. Michael Jarman, thank you. Good luck with your work right up until the January deadline. And then we shall talk again.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. TalkSPORT.